The NFL season kicks off. Preseason week number 2 actually starts tonight with 2 games this evening. One will be on our air with Las Vegas taking on Houston. That's a 8 o'clock kick. Dan Graziano writes for ESPN, senior NFL national reporter. They have a lot of these, by the way. And he put together a very well-researched article, an extended article, maybe not, well, you know what? A very in-depth article about the NFL and the quarterback situation. And a lot of it has to do with how well quarterbacks do this year, and it sets up for the year 2027. And apparently, half of the NFL has a quarterback dilemma. And we can boil it down even more for you when it comes to the NFC South, in which the Carolina Panthers play football. Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young, a quarterback. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, a quarterback, signed through this year. Not talking about extension anymore. He's come back. Did they find him hungry? Did they find him wanting more? Did they find him full? And then the Atlanta Falcons, which nobody quite seems to understand what is happening there. Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 3 of the teams that Graziano says have quarterback questions. And a lot of it has to do with what happens this year. Some of it is contract related. In the instance of Baker Mayfield, I don't think anyone has said that Baker Mayfield cannot play the quarterback position. You've seen the behind-the-scenes stuff on the Netflix documentary Quarterback. You've seen how he's just really motivated and driven and understands now that whatever image that he had in the past has, changed life in Tampa. Is Tampa a Super Bowl winning team? No, probably not. Feels like they're in another year of transition, even though they gave Vita Vea a $30 million extension late last night. 1 year. They could franchise tag Mayfield in Tampa. It's possible. But you're talking about this year, a proven quarterback situation. In Carolina, it's much different. You've got Bryce Young under contract for this year. You've got Bryce Young with a 5th-year option that got picked up. But this year is going to set up whatever happens next year for the Carolina Panthers. They want to see improvement. Dan Morgan wants to see improvement. The question at large is for a lot of folks, and I think for me, because I don't quite understand it because they haven't given it to us, is what is that line? What is that line? What is that threshold? What is that data point that says, and we know we live in a world of data points now, what does that data point say for Bryce Young when they believe he has shown enough improvement for him to be the big guy and get himself, let's be honest, in 2028, the first year of what is likely, again, figure out where that line is, a 4 or 5 year extension worth $200 million? Are you willing to say he's a franchise quarterback? And that is the dilemma that the Carolina Panthers find themselves in. They want to see this improvement, this nebulous word for him if he shows them signs of being the man, being the guy that takes them to that next level and not stumble into the playoffs, outright win a division, outright win a game, and push you into a different conversation. And you would love for Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers to be in that kind of a conversation. The kind of conversation that you talk about the Los Angeles Chargers with, right? With Justin Herbert being this gunslinger of a quarterback who's tall, throws darts, but never can seem to get the team out of the first round despite the amount of talent that surrounds him. Does that sound familiar at all? And then you deal with Atlanta. And Atlanta is an enigma wrapped in a riddle. And what they ended up doing here is, this is the crapshoot that is the NFL, and it's probably why Graziano believes that there are 16 teams that fall in this category of having quarterback questions. I mean, there aren't enough elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Everyone is serviceable. But you start talking about elite, and you really whittle that thing down. Like that, those apples are not falling from that tree at all. There's no harvest. Atlanta chose to go in a different direction. They tried the Kirk Cousins experiment. It didn't work. And maybe some of it had to do with the fact that they chose his successor immediately after signing him in Michael Penix. Michael Penix can't stay off the field, and he has a torn ACL. So what do? Let's create competition. Well, we're not going to go sign a journeyman quarterback. That wasn't our option. We're going to go sign Tua Tagovailoa. And Tua, on a veteran's minimum, because the Dolphins are paying him $55 million, which you know is a number that the Carolina Panthers number crunchers are looking at and going, are we able to do that? Because it didn't work out in Miami with Tua, who was a high pick, and they've got to figure out if he is worth it beyond the 1 year. And there's no competition right now. Michael Penix can't even get on the field, so it's Tua's team to technically lose. But are you willing to go, yeah, this is our guy too? They have big questions in Atlanta. It almost hurts. It almost hurts because as a football fan and someone who enjoys watching the NFL, it hurts watching guys like Bijan Robinson. Like, you talk about a guy who has all the talent and puts up numbers and stats. But if there's no running game, like if there's no passing game, there's no running game. Like after the first couple of things, you know what's happening. He'll get 1 million touches, and all of a sudden you got Drake London doing bubble screens as opposed to going down the field because they're stacking everybody up, and it just so happens they're playing the likes of a Sauce Gardner or a J.C. Horn across from him. Like, you're just trying to control the measurables. You're trying to, like, hey, listen, I'll let you throw the ball 45 times, and you can complete 22 of those things. But if you throw for 118 yards, that will not hurt us at all. Like, Atlanta's in a weird bit. And, I feel, I'm not conflicted about it. I just feel bad for guys like that. I feel bad. I mean, you could talk about Justin Jefferson in that same light, right? The Minnesota Vikings sent, and they're in the same situation too. They're dealing with Kyler Murray, and whether or not J.J. McCarthy, who was their guy, can still be their guy but won't be their guy. Like, Justin Jefferson, like, dude, what happened? Like, Sam Darnold was feeding me. Like, he was just throwing M&Ms at my mouth. Just, like cheese to a dog. Nom, 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 nom. And then a monster fall off, and they're dealing with that same kind of situation too. Like, Kyler Murray, is that the answer? Now, if I'm Kevin McCarthy, I'm like, dude, I can chicken salad, baby, out of you-know-what. Like, he can figure it out. Like, he can still get this team playing. McCarthy didn't quite click for him, and then he had to run through the game. Like, Carson Wentz was there. He started a couple games for them at some point. Like, it was this weird mishmash of guys. It's almost like, you know what? Is Trey Lance still out there? Justin Fields. Is he still out there? Justin Fields, by the way, the worst quarterback in the NFL last year, still has a job. He's playing in Kansas City. Did you know that? He's in Kansas City. Backing up, is it Jake Browning? I can't remember who it is. Doesn't really matter. Pat Mahomes, quarterback there. There are a lot of teams with a lot of questions. In the NFC South, it is just this weird, and not saying New Orleans among that group, that is just off the charts to me, that they have settled in. But maybe that just speaks to Kellen Moore as a coach and how he's able to figure things out with that group down there. And he's got an even tougher gig because Alvin Kamara, like, tote the mail, Alvin Kamara, like, catch the ball out of the backfield, Alvin Kamara, he's going to be out for the next several weeks. There's one fewer guy for Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck, not on this list of quarterback questions. That's wild. That's just wild to me.
I'm Max Goren with 3 things you need to know right now from 99.9 The Fan. The Carolina Panthers held joint practice with the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday ahead of tomorrow's preseason Week 2 matchup. You can catch coverage of that game as well as every Panthers game this season on our family station Mix 101.5 with tomorrow's kickoff scheduled for 7:30 p.m. Charlotte FC led 3-1 in the second half of last night's match at Toronto FC, but even with their opponents down to 10 men after a Walker Zimmerman red card, the Crown conceded 2 goals late, resulting in a 3-3 draw. Charlotte gets back on the pitch at home on Saturday night against DC United. The Durham Bulls split last night's doubleheader in Gwinnett and will continue the series against the Stripers tonight. Bulls coverage is available on 620 AM Buzz Sports Radio, 99.9 FM HD2, and WRAL News Plus, with first pitch scheduled for 7:05 p.m. For all the latest news on your favorite teams, download the 99.9 The Fan app or visit 999thefan.com.
So yesterday, you may have gotten word, and if you're not, you're learning of it right now, so I'll give it to you. A judge in Louisiana issued a temporary restraining order granting 33 former college athletes, which includes roughly half of that group football players, a fifth year of eligibility, and a 1-week window to enter the transfer portal. Here's the kicker. Of those football players, some are still in NFL training camps. They are going through the professional motions to play professional football. Now, there are some who are ready to come back. No, we had it good back in school. Training tables, and I could still go to classes, and there were parties, and we have lost control at this point. For former professional players to come back and play in school. And there are a number, these are actual names, and you're like, they're not actual names, Paul. They aren't. The one bigger name that's come out there is Jack Pyburn. Pyburn, who played at LSU last year, was starter, dealt with some injuries throughout his entire career. But, the argument for him and the others was, hey, you guys extended eligibility to 5 years, but didn't include the senior class. So Pyburn, he's in Tampa Bay's camp right now. The full list that's out there has a number of significant names on this list. Anthony Hankerson, who's with the Seahawks right now. Trent Hendrick, former James Madison linebacker in camp right now. He was the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year at James Madison. If he bails and comes back, someone will pay him some serious money. Xavier Harris, same way, former Ole Miss guy. As a matter of fact, there's 3 former Ole Miss players who all are on or were on NFL rosters who are looking to come back to school. All 3 were starters at Ole Miss. If Ole Miss just magically finds some cash, they go to the portal, they could all run it back, and all of a sudden that team becomes a much different football team. TJ Harden at SMU, former ACC running back who was waived by the Seahawks, wants to come back and play. Now, some of these are also basketball players and things like that, and for reals here, common sense-wise, basketball players could come back because there's a little bit more time to do that. If you're one of these football players, your realistic option is only returning to the team that you were with, just based on assimilation of the playbook, understanding who's in the room, and knowing who the coaches are. You could play at lower levels. I don't think anyone would say, you're going to go play, D2 somewhere. Sure, go ahead. Make it happen. You just want to live out the dream and not. But this is about money. No doubt about it. This is about cash. Kids should go get their cash. But it just feels weird now that you can go pro, and we're seeing it in Europe, right? The European basketball players specifically, whatever professional means at that point, who are now coming to the United States and going to play ball in college here, and there are plenty of those examples here in the Triangle. This is where that line has not even just blurred, it has been obliterated. It has been obliterated, and there's really nothing left to do except really just accept it. You just have to accept it, where the NCAA has lost absolute control. There's really nothing left. They really, at this point moving forward, just let it roll out. Don't spend any more money in the courts. Just let everybody claim. And my wife checked me recently. My wife was an athlete, did all her schooling in 4 years, ran non-revenue sport. I hate saying that, non-revenue sport. She was track and field to cross country, has, a junior college All-American. And I said, well, what's to prohibit you from going back? And she goes, I don't think I could run that fast as someone in their 40s. That's what holds back some of the common sense, right? There's some of you out there, man, I could still make it happen. I could still run out there. They'll make a movie about me, a Disney movie. Not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. But we know at this point, the more of these that go to court, the more the realization is that there's nothing settled when you think things are settled. And whatever this Protect College Sports Act that was supposed to be the helping hand of the federal government that is now stuck in recess, it's not going to help this year. This year is still going to be madness. It's still going to be wild when it comes to player movement and how things get done and how things get unraveled. There's a great article, and I say great in the nicest sense possible. This is no shade thrown. There's a great article in The Athletic, and it says everything you need to know when it comes to NIL and college agents. There's no regulation. I could be a college football agent in terms of representation. And I could be representing, quote unquote, representing people that I don't represent. I'm just out there getting feelers. And this is where some of these general managers, do throw up their hands and go, I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, are they interested? Great. I don't have a number for them. Let me talk to the coach. Let me go talk to the secondary scouting group. Like, this has spawned a whole nother group of professionals out there that you hope have the best interests of these kids in mind. And these are kids. Even the ones that have signed professional contracts and look to come back to school. You know why they want to come back to school? Some of it has to do with money. There's no doubt about that. That is one of the primary motivating factors. But if you had a good college experience, and I don't care if you played sports or not, you want more of that. You think of yourself still in that model, in that mindset. It was fun to hang out with my buddies on a Thursday night and get together. It was fun going to that off-campus party. It was fun gathering at the whatever tower you had to gather at. You want more of that. You want to cling on to that as much as you possibly can. It's why people going back to those high school reunions, right? I scored 4 touchdowns in that football game and won us the championship.